Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and I thought what I would start today is another Making Page Kits series. Now what we're going to make page kits with this time is leftovers from those 30 page kits that I put together, and then I went to a crop and ended up making 21 pages. This is what I have left over. So this is mainly pattern paper and cardstock. This too, because this got too full. And this is a lot of embellishments. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take out all the ones with the pattern papers. So we'll make more pattern paper kits at first with the leftovers pattern papers. And I like doing that because, again, it's giving a second chance to some of the embellishments and some of the pattern papers that, I didn't get to even cut into, or that I did cut into, and then I made page kits out of scraps. So this is embellishment. So I'm just going to put that to the side, and we'll touch or gather those after. I always like to start with my pattern papers first. And I have some in here, so I'll take those out. It's kind of surprising to see how little pattern papers sometimes you actually get to use to make these layouts, so it's not surprising to me that I have this many pattern papers left. Also, I do put way more than I need, because I'm away at a crop and I can't just, get up from my area where I scrapbook and then just walk down to where my cardstock is or my pattern paper and just grab another sheet. What I have there is what I have there. So the first thing I'm going to do is separate the patterns from the cardstock. See, you can tell too that a lot of that pattern paper or a lot of that cardstock just has the center cut out. So I'll keep those in mind to mat some of these patterns so they don't go to waste. And I've mentioned this quite a few times that one of my favorite ways to scrap a page is by using leftover scraps. And the reason for that is it's like the page makes itself, because you start working with some of these scraps and you're like, oh well, it's cut down to this size, so let's see what I can do with that. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate my full sheets of pattern to just scraps, because then with scraps like this or leftovers, you have to do one of two things. Find some that are still full and use that as your background, or use some cardstock as your background. And I seem to have a bit of each. For example, this one here, I could totally use that as a background because there's not much cut out of it. So I could use, something like this and cover that hole. So I can keep in mind that yellow cardstock as a possibility for a background. And when I make the page kits too, I'm like, okay, yeah, all these patterns go together. But once I start, choosing pattern papers and everything, then it's like, okay, well, I kind of went overboard on the number of pattern papers. And this time I didn't do this, but a lot of times what I'll do is using the leftovers of a page kit, I'll turn around and make another page with it right away. So I take the leftovers of the pattern paper and make another layout. This time around, I didn't do that because I want to see how many of the page kits I could use up. And also, I knew that I wanted to do this. I wanted to make some pages, you know, using leftovers. So this is what we're going to start today. So we'll go for about an hour. So I don't know how many pattern paper kits we're going to get done, or even if we're going to start putting embellishments at this point, or we might just do just the pattern paper portion. I don't know how many I'm going to do, because I could say let's do 20, but because this is scraps, I don't know how many I'm going to actually have that I can make pages with. So we're going to leave that up in the air, and it'll depend on how much, you know, scraps I have, and I'll go through all of them. And let's put it this way, I'm going to make as many as possible to try to use up these scraps on a layout, because if I put these, another sticker sheet, if I put these in my scrap bin, it's probably going to be like literally probably years before I get to it. Maybe not years, months. We'll say months before I get to it, because I do try to get to my scrap drawer often so that it doesn't get too full. Okay, so I have this much cardstock. I have this many full sheets of pattern paper, and I have a nice little stack of ones that were cut into. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do, see, these are cut apart. Oh, I guess this one I could use. That's super busy though. Unless I took something like this and really just left like a border all the way around. I don't know if I could use that as a background. This one's kind of cute. I don't have too many options for backgrounds. Okay, I have this one. I can go with the green, or I can go with the blue. I have, oh, this one's not even a full sheet. So let's put that over there. This would make, oh, I love this too. This as a background, so that's 2, and I could possibly use this as a background because it's busy, but it's really tiny polka dots. And then I have this I could use as a background. So not bad as far, you know, that's 4 that I can use as a background. And then the rest, you know, you can cut them apart or use cardstock as the background. This is kind of busy for a background, so we'll put it back there. So let's start with this one, this color. So page kit number 1. Let's put this to the side. And let's start to see what I could put with this. Another way I could do this is find the pattern papers that I like and then look for a background. Maybe the next one, that's what we'll do. Because I think that'll make it a whole lot easier. Because, you know, like I'm looking at this and this. I really love this together. What about this? I think 2 patterns is enough. That's a red. Okay, so let's keep that for after. I get on these rabbit trails, it's like, oh, but I like this. So how about if I jump right to this instead? Oh. And maybe I'm not going to have enough of that color to to do a layout. Who knows? Maybe I'm better off starting. I like that, but that's just one little itsy bitsy piece of pattern paper. Okay, so rewind. Let's put that to the side. Let's go for my second option that I thought. I'm actually going to start with my scraps and see what I have and then decide on a background after. No. So I like these two together, but I'd like to have a little bit more than that. Let's see if I can find at least a third piece that could go with this. Okay. I like that. This is really subtle. I know I said no more pattern, but that's really subtle and I really like it. And I think there was a second piece in there. What about this? Yeah, I like that. Pretty sure there was another piece of this. Yes. And there was this. So I like that. Okay, so now I think my only option is probably going to be cardstock, but let's just check. I have that one pink. If I don't like it with that, then I'm going to have to go to cardstock. This is really subtle. Let me get a pink cardstock and then I can compare. You know, how the pattern paper pops. Compare it to that pink and then compare it to this. Oof, I do not like that. Not even a little bit. And that's the same color, so no. Okay. So I think I'm going to go with this pattern paper. I think I like that. I like the way it pops, and this color, the only one that I would take out is this one. So I'm going to take it out because I don't find it goes. So that's one pattern paper kit. And what I've been doing is I've been separating where the pattern paper ends, like the pattern paper kit, so that when I get to put my embellishments, I can tell easily, okay, it stops there, because it can get kind of like, oh, where does this start and where does this end? So I'm going to put that to the side. Now we're going to push these over again, and we'll get the second of scraps and see what I like together. I love this navy. If I could use that somehow, I'd like to do it. So the first one we did was kind of pinks and dark burgundy. So now, just to keep it fresh kind of thing, I'll try and use a different tone. See how many yellows I have. Ooh, quite a bit. Okay. I like all this. Doesn't mean I'm going to use it all, but it gives me tons of options for when I start putting the layout together. A little scrappy here. Okay, now with that, I don't think I'm going to go with yellow. I have brown, but man, there's a big hole in the middle. It's almost too big for me to be able to fix it. there's this. It's not like brown, but I like the tone. I like the difference. So you know what? I think I'm going to go with that. Again, I have no idea what photos I'm going to use up to now. Right now, I'm just going and I'm just picking out scraps that I like together. Well, this was a little bit more yellow, but you know what? I think I'm going to do brown and yellow, and I'm not going to need a lot of yellow, just a little bit, so that might be enough. Like this. Okay, so while I'm picking out some stuff, I just want to talk about, I had put a giveaway yesterday, and I asked what kind of classes you guys would like to see, and an overwhelming amount said page kits, like making page kits. Now, I have to say, every single one of my classes, that's not true, except for the first one, the Stretch Your Kit, I didn't make page kits in that one. And then everybody, a lot of people said, oh, we wish you would have, showed us when you gathered your kits. So every single class after that, at the beginning of the class, there's at least 2 or 3 hours of video of making page kits. And then we go and we make the pages using those page kits. So every single one, except for Stretch Your Kit class, has making page kits at the beginning. Okay, I like these together. So if you're interested, there is about 30 hours left. 30 hours left, and then the sale is going to end. It's 53% off. And a lot of the classes have tons of layouts. The Scrapathons have 30 plus layouts in them, and hours and hours of videos. And like I said, each one of the classes has like 2 to 3 hours of making page kits. Okay, but all your suggestions, I'm definitely writing them down. My next 2 classes is going to be, one is going to be a mini album, a travel mini album, and the other one that I've been prepping is making, the whole class is going to be real time. So from picking the pattern papers to making page kits, but each and every single one of the pages are going to be real time, so that when I'm, putting the embellishment clusters together, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, or, what made me put that embellishment there. So that, I don't know which one will come first. I was going to do the album first, but I don't know which one will come first. And that'll be at the end of June. I had to push it back for a month because I got an injury, and for 2 weeks I couldn't even bend my fingers. So I couldn't do anything. Okay. That's it. I like this one. The other one had a brown background with yellow pattern paper. This one has a yellow background with brown and beige and tan pattern papers. So that's 3. Again, putting way more than what I need. Oh, I like those 2 together. That's not even the same collection, but man, they go well together. I love that. And what about this? To add a little bit of color. No, that blue is the same, but that blue and that blue, no, it's different. And I know like. So we're going to take that away. Kind of like this, but Isn't that pretty? But it's too small. If I had a bigger sheet of it, I would love it. It's pretty too. So pretty. Okay, what about I just see this sitting on the side there. I think that's going to be too close. Yeah. If that was just a shade lighter, I would love that with it. What about that polka dot that I had at the beginning? Nope. Not even close. So I have a few cardstock here. Now, if I don't find cardstock right now, I'll just put them, you know, for a background. I'll just put them to the side, and I'll find cardstock before I start putting embellishments in. I gotta start. Oh, it's not plugged in. Oh well. I was gonna start my fan because whew, she's getting warm in here. Okay. I do like this. So I'm gonna put that there. So that's a nice amount. I don't need 15 sheets, right? What about the back side of these? No. So if that's going to give me 3 sheets to layer. Kind of like that. I don't need a whole bunch, like I said. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a little thing here so I know. Oh, I didn't put one on the other one. There we go. Know where it ends. And I don't think I need to put get cardstock because it's pretty apparent that I don't have a full background for that, and I'm going to need a background. But at this point, I could have put, you know, get full sheet of cardstock. And also, it's not going to be days and days in between me actually doing this part and then picking the embellishments and all that. I want to get this done quickly because I'm going to a day crop on June 9th. It's only for the day, but I want to make sure that it's only a day, so I can't see me doing like 15 pages. But I've gone to day crops before and I get quite a bit done. So how about if I do this? And plus, if I go to my day crop and I do all my pages that I have left, which is 10 page kits, then I'm going to be out for my scrap room. So that was another reason why I wanted to make some page kits, because then I'll have some for my scrap room, even if I don't use them at the crop. Ooh, I like that. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. I think that's a good amount. I think, you know, if I use this as the background, I'm going to use that as matting, and then, you know, cut these down a little bit and just layer them up. And that page kit, that page will probably come together really quickly. Okay. Another thing I want to mention for the classes too is they're a little, I would say a little different than the pages that I make on YouTube. A lot of times when I make pages on YouTube, I kind of go, you know, I take the page, whatever's in the kit, and I make a page. With the classes, a lot of them, I try to come up with challenges or prompts, and then I make a page with that. And so I find that there's a lot of variety. Okay. Like this. I think I like this better than that. Ooh, I wish I'd find a bigger piece. I'm looking at the back side because then it's going to make it easier for me to spot it in there somewhere if there's more. See, that was one of the new collections that I got in March. I ended up making a ton of page kits with those, and I'm getting to use them. Now I have to say, we went to a scrapbook store that's 3 hours away, and that's the day that we went to IKEA, and I was so impressed. I walked out of there and I had only bought what I needed for one of my classes. I needed an album for that mini album, and I had found some frames that went with the collection that I had chosen to make the mini album. So I got that, and I think one alpha, and that's it. I was so impressed. The reason we had gone there is because we had ordered, I did order the Tim Holtz Mixed Media mat. So the shipping was going to be pretty bad because it's a heavy thing, right? So then I was like, why not make a road trip? And then we ended up inviting some of our other pals. So we ended up, there was 4 of us going to IKEA, or to the scrapbook store. And then we made it so that, you know, there's an IKEA in the city right close to where the scrapbook store is, like the bigger city. And so we went to IKEA. Oh, I got a bookcase, and that's how this injury happened. But I got a bookcase, and so it was fun. There's so much more stuff that I want to get from IKEA. I want to get a couple of calics. I want to get one for my living room, and I want to put all my albums down there, and then it'll open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14 the recollections, and they're the ones that have 4 slots. It'll open 14 of them up, and then I can move my cardstock from where it is now and move it into those, and then it'll give me more racks for drying my soaps, and that'll be awesome. And I was thinking yesterday, I thought about this yesterday, I have about 7 or 8 feet left in my scrap room that is just open space, and I have a smaller desk that I had in my old craft room, and it's just down, well, the top of it is just downstairs. I use the cubes to make my new desk, so I would need to buy 4 or 8 more cubes and to build another desk, and I think I will. And that desk will be for my diamond painting, and then I can organize all my diamond painting stuff into that desk. And I got one of those art easel, and the art easel can sit on that, so I can do it upstairs, because right now I'm doing my diamond painting downstairs, and I'd like to keep it all upstairs, and I'd like a spot where I can keep my bigger diamond painting. So that desk is pretty big, so I could keep it on the desk, the bigger ones, and then put my art easel over top. It's not going to damage anything. Okay, so I think this will be one, and I have no blue cardstock or anything that'll go with that. So I'll just put this to the side, and I'll have to get a cardstock for that. So quite a few different colors. We got pink, we got yellow on brown, brown on yellow, we got some green, we got some turquoise, and then we got navy blue and some aquas. So quite a bit of variety, which is good. Let's see, I love this pattern paper, so I want to be able to use it. That's super old, and it was funny because when I was at the crop, I was using quite a bit of older Stampin' Up! Papers, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, that's like 10 years old. Stampin' Up! Papers. It was like, yep, I'm using my older stuff. And I love the pages that, you know, I made. Oh, that'd be awesome together. Now, do I want to put a splash of color? How about red? Ooh, yeah, I like that. Okay. So that, let's see. I don't think I'd want a black cardstock because then it would kind of blend in too much. I have red here. So maybe red. No. So probably, I have like light red cardstock, so that might be okay, or a white. So I'll go looking for that after because I don't have any here. See, if you remember, the only cardstock I have beside me is the little stack that I had. So I don't have a lot of options, and I don't want to keep walking back and forth to my cardstock because it is a little walk away, and I don't want to keep walking away. I like these three together. How about on a pink cardstock for that? You know, you would think that pink is pink, but no, pink is not pink. There's so many different tones of every shade, right? I think I like this one better. I think I like these together. They're all patterns, but this is a wide pattern, like bold, but then this is like a very tight pattern. And this almost reads as a solid because it's mainly red with just little tinny itty bitty, I don't know, they're supposed to be flowers or something. So I think that's going to be okay. No. Just trying to use as many of those scrap as I possibly can. And, you know what? When I make this page, I'm probably going to be, you know, having leftovers again. And then what I can do is do this again and maybe take my drawer that's full of scraps and then kind of incorporate those in there so that I have more scraps, because that'll be, you know, a second generation of making page kits that I did with those pages. So they're going to start running a little low. I like that. Oh, I like this too. So you know what? I'm going to put this so I can see both sides. Do I like this? It's too busy. This reads almost like a solid, even though it's got pattern, but it's really subtle. So I like that. No. It's not a lot of pattern right now. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I could maybe find. Oh. I don't know, it's almost too much the same. But then I can decide on which one I want to use. Or like this. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot. Like just a little strip like that just breaks all the patterns. And so I don't usually throw out stuff like this. I just keep it. And then I like putting, you know, like little strips like this, and it really breaks up the other patterns. I'm going to put that in there. May not use it, but that's okay. At least it has a chance of making it on a layout. We're getting pretty slim pickings on the pattern papers. I love these pattern papers. Okay, yeah. You know what? That doesn't look like a lot, but I can probably use all of this, and then it's going to make a nice background. Probably like a brown cardstock. Wouldn't that look awesome? But this is too much cut out the inside. If it was smaller, and I think that's the only brown I have in there. Yep. You know what? I'll put this with it, depending on the pattern that or the cardstock. If I go with a craft or whatever, then I can use this too as a layer, or to mat my photo, or whatever the case may be. Okay, I gotta make sure that these are really well separated. Oh, there's a lot of little pieces in that one. Okay. I think we're getting to the end of patterns. Oh, it's so pretty. But that's okay, because what I'll do is I'll still put this in a what you call it, those oversized baggies, and then once I make more pages, you know, whether it's at the crop or even here on my own using those page kits, I'll just keep putting them into that baggie, and then next time I make page kits using scraps, I can give these pattern papers a third chance. And it's not that I don't like these pattern papers, it's more that I kind of ran out of stuff to kind of go with it. So I like those two. Let's see if I can separate a little bit of colors, and then maybe I can find something else that will go with these patterns. A lot of this is cut aparts too, so. No, I think we are at the end of, ooh, do you remember that all black pattern paper kit? I'm going to put that in it. And maybe this. So that'll be 2 that I can add to that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this away. Right now, you know, it's way more forced than it was at the beginning. At the beginning, it was like, you know, oh, this and this and this and this. And now, I mean, I went from how many pattern papers to this. Like, I've almost used it all up. And it's in a page kit. And it has a way bigger chance of making it onto the layout than it is being in this. So I'm going to put the full size pattern papers too. And like I said, next time I might grab my drawer with all the leftover patterns in there. The scraps. And there. Okay. So let's, whoops. My goodness, it's really floppy because most of them have the inside cut out. There we go. Now these have something on the strip, so we will put that in there. Okay, so I'm just going to pause and I'm going to get cardstock for all those page kits, and then I'll let you know how many page kits that we have started putting together.